Hey, Tracy. Happy New Year to you too. Oh, can't complain. Sitting here brushing the cat. That's like a full-time job. Or at least he wishes it was my full-time job. Right? I know there's so much fur coming off. Eventually I will have another cat. Hey, Yvonne. Hey, Dan. I don't know. I haven't really figured that much out about 2026 yet. Gonna try and survive it. Hey, Janine. Is Darth here? I didn't see Darth. Stroking the cat here. That and the kitty treats are the only reason he loves me. Right? I don't know if I'm ready for another cat. Got to remember, I'm getting up there kind of in years. I'm 61 right now, and this guy's been with me for 18 years. So let's say I get another cat, a new cat, a baby or something like that. That's another 18-year commitment. That's going to push me to 80. I don't know. It'd be an odd change for me though, because it'd be the first time since I was a child that I didn't have some sort of a pet. So I don't know. Hello, John. Happy 2026. I'll tell you, at work yesterday, I wrote 2025 so many times that it almost became like a joke. What is this? I didn't ask for that. All of a sudden, they're running these ads on YouTube that go into like some 20-minute live stream here, and I'm trying to run my friend Matt's videos here, and this is twice now. Right before the live stream started, it popped me into this whatever the heck this is. Instead of that, that's what we want to see. I'm not interested in seeing two old dudes sitting on a chair talking to each other. I don't know what that's all about. That's twice that's happened now. Hey, Susan. The crazy thing is, I don't think Matt's channel's even gotten to the point where he can monetize yet. I don't think he's got enough subscribers. He's probably got enough view hours, but hello, Gene. Happy New Year. I've never been a New Year's resolution kind of person. I mean, I'm perfect the way I am. Why would I want to change anything, right? Did that one get a thousand views? I would say I've been thinking about that one because that was a an interesting video last week because it had more active, more people on the, participating on it live than usual too. Let's go see here. Holy cow, you're right. Thousand views. That's insane. Most of mine don't get a whole lot of rewatch afterwards. And I don't know. I don't think it was that I had the Adam the Woo picture because I highly distorted that picture. So I don't know if it picked. I think it's just maybe that people were typing Adam the Woo in, and I was saying Adam the Woo over and over again because we had a lot of new people in last time that had never been in before, names that I hadn't seen before. So I don't know. That was weird. It's kind of an interesting look at maybe how YouTube's algorithms work. They maybe monitor this a lot closer than we think. And based on what we're talking about, if I just say Adam the Woo over and over again, who knows? We may start getting a bunch of views on here. We'll just call this the Adam the Woo channel, huh? Escaping the Woo. Yeah, it was really sad to hear. I remember, yeah, because I heard it from Jordan. He that's what he said. We were talking about something else, and all of a sudden he switched subjects and told me that Adam had died. I hated how autocorrect takes what you wanted, what you actually entered, and changes it to something else. In fact, it just happened to me this morning. Um, this is the photo here that I used for the thumbnail for the live stream. And I wanted to learn a little bit more about this place, where it was, and stuff like that. And I typed Sanger's because the store was called Sanger's. It was a big department store before the Depression in Waco. And see, there it did it again. Now we got another live stream that's kicked in here. That's crazy. I don't know. I might end up turning off Matt's channel here because it keeps going into all these crazy live streams and other things. And if it was just a regular ad that ran and then stopped, it'd be fine. But it gets into this live stream thing and it sticks with that. And all of a sudden, I'm watching a 30-minute video on blueberries. I don't know what that's all about. That's starting to make me mad here. I don't know. That happens again. I might have to just stop the. Might have to stop the live stream or stop the video running in the background because that's out of control. I want to have ocean videos in the background. I don't want to have, like somebody talking about blueberries or whatever it was up there. So anyway, back to what I was talking about. So that's the picture from the live stream. I got that out of that Fred Gildersleeve photo book that my mom got me a couple years ago for Christmas, and I decided I wanted to go looking what that was. And like I said, I typed Sanger's because the store was called Sanger's and Waco, and autocorrect turned that into Singers in Waco. So I don't know. Otherwise, what I'll have to do is I'll just have to download a bunch of Matt's videos and run them here, run them off the hard drive. You keep standing up so much to end those crazy videos in the background there that Bite ran away and doesn't want to come join us anymore. Hey, Spaniel Mom, Happy New Year. Good morning, Kim. New monitors are doing really well. I at one point I kind of thought the reason for having the dual monitors was when I was doing video editing, I divided up into two screens. I think it's actually a little easier having it just on one screen and then having the other screen available for doing stuff in the background. And I think that's what comes in handy. But yeah, I like having the dual monitor set up. Computer's been working really well for me. Office party was pretty good. We did, and basically I just go there for the casino night. That's but it was good food, and they got to do the typical company speeches and stuff like that. And I got recognized this year because I had my 5-year anniversary in the last year. Bye. You want to come back? I was a little bit more loose with with the uh, with the gambling this year. I just figured, it's not real money, so it's a good chance to kind of play around with it and see what happens. Ended up losing about $1,400, but like I said, It's company money. It was funny money. It doesn't count for anything. Just the recognition, Gene. Not really thinking about retiring. Yeah, well, I'm on my 3 day weekend right now, so I go back to work on Wednesday. So we're going into my 4 day work week. Yeah, I mean, as long as I can keep making money, I'm not going to hit. I'm not going to do Social Security at this point. My understanding is there's kind of a wage limit that you can make and collect, Social Security. See, now it's done it again too. Got some other strange video that popped up, and it just goes into a live stream mode. I don't remember. Oh yeah, that's what we need. Video of a dog taking a dump. Boy, that's crazy. I don't know. And look, it just goes on and on. If it was just a regular ad, it'd be one thing, but it like goes into this 20-minute live stream thing, and it just goes on and on and on. Yeah, and that's to them. I'm not giving them free advertising. Actually, maybe I can do something about this. Stand by here. The keyboard and mouse on my computer are wireless, so I can bring the mouse over here and shut things down. Now I got two mouses over here, so I can at least shut the ads down from here. That's crazy, though. I don't know if I pushed the wrong button. Yeah, that sounds like your data, your download rate isn't good enough to keep up with it. Because usually when it's spinning, that means it's downloading more video. And I don't know. I'd look at my internet speed. Are you talking this picture here, Yvonne? It's a picture from basically Sanger's was like a department store here in Waco from about the turn of the century and went under during the Depression. And they were kind of a favorite of the town. And every year they'd have a big Christmas special. And so that's what this is. That was the Christmas special in front of the store on Christmas 1913, according to the book. That's sort of a famous picture. What I've done is, like I said, I got this coffee table book from my mom a couple years ago. You may remember seeing this. And I've actually scanned a bunch of the photos out of it and have them up on the wall over there. Just because I think it's cool to see some of those fun old pictures from way back in the day. I don't know if I'm going to do anything in the garden this year. I haven't planted from seedlings. You know, since the first year I did that. And I just buy the little potted plants, at the nursery and just plant those. But I don't know, I might grow something again this year. I did really well a couple years ago with tomatoes and growing them way denser than I should have because I should have only put like 8 tomato plants in there. And I think I had like 27 growing in there. But I built that big trellis thing that they could rest on, and the tomato plants did really well under that. So I don't know. I've been thinking this year I might do just big tomatoes. I've done the little cherry tomatoes, and I got thousands and thousands of those. But maybe this year we'll do just big ones. I got to do some repairs in there. A couple of the sprinkler heads are broken though. Oh, every year I've done something in the garden. I've grown tomatoes, so that's been the like one constant. And then the other garden, it's been a lot of like jalapeno peppers and stuff like that. And I've gotten some good stuff off of that too. Serrano peppers, habaneros, jalapeno. I think I even had some scorpion peppers in there a couple of years ago. Hey, all right. We at least did a transition to a new video without starting some weird live stream. Maybe they know it's I'm ready for them this time. Yeah, that's a drag that they take stuff down that quick. But I guess it's been a couple weeks now almost, right? Yeah, tomatoes are good in a lot of things. For a long time, I was making like salsa. I'd go and get like 20 romaine tomatoes or what was it? What kind of whatever the tomatoes were. Oh, he lived in an HOA. Okay, I guess that sort of explains things. I guess Jeff Kidd went and visited his house last week because he posted a picture of it. Let me see if I can find that here. Hold on. All right, let's look at his. Wait for everything to catch up. Him and his fried pickles. Let's see. It's funny, I can't, I don't see it. I mean, we're way back before he died. Yeah, I don't know. I remember seeing it on Facebook, but well, you can make that too, Kim, because that's the same salsa. I made homemade salsa on a vlog a couple years ago, and that was the stuff I made. Now I goosed it up a lot. Yeah, tomatoes are good on burgers, definitely. Yeah, see, there we go. Bites back. It is. It is good salsa. I used to make breakfast burritos pretty regularly for my weekends, and that's what it was. I had like a an egg and ham and sausage mixture that I'd all kind of cook together, and then I'd have the salsa and some cheese and just kind of nuke the whole thing, and it was good to go. Hey Jeff, we were just looking at your Facebook profile. You'd posted a picture, I think, recently, where you said you'd gone to Adam's house, and you posted a picture of all the stuff in front of it. I couldn't find it on your Facebook page, though. Okay, where did I see it though? I know that it must have been on Facebook at one point. Did you remove it? At least there's not an ad running back here. It's still at least Matt's channel. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast. I do make a little bit of money doing this, and that's where it comes from. Got to watch the ads. Oh, it was on. Okay, that makes sense. Because I just looked at your own channel here and I didn't see it. Okay, yeah, you sent me the stuff now. Let's okay, yeah, we'll cut away to this. So yeah, that's I guess Adam's house here. And I guess from what I heard, he was up here in his bedroom was up here, and I guess somebody crawled up onto the third floor and looked in the window and saw him in there, and that was how they discovered it. Nice house he had, huh? Oops, went the wrong way. Look at all the coffee cups. That's awesome. So yeah, I guess the HOA shut that down. Yeah, bite's still here. Okay, yeah, I heard something like that. I had a house with stairs in California too, and I was sort of over that by the end. That was one of my requirements when I bought this house. I wanted a single story house. I think the advantage of the two-story houses in California is they had relatively small backyards, and so that allowed them to increase the amount of floor space in the house and still maintain the postage stamp backyard. My house here is probably 500 square feet bigger than the one I lived in California. Probably mainly just because of this room here. Because, like I said, this room is massive. That's one of the things I really love about this house is I could fit 40 people in here easy. Jeff saying hi to you. Bye. I also kind of factored in my advanced age when I made the decision to move away from the two-story house. I don't know. When I was a kid, a two-story house was always kind of a status symbol. So I think that was a factor in me getting a two-story house at that point. But it just becomes a liability. You rubbing your nose on my laptop? When I've had apartments, I've always tried to make it a point to be on the top floor because I don't like the idea of people clomping around above me. Even in that dump I had when I first moved to Waco, it was a two-story apartment, so there wasn't anybody above me. It was just the herd of wildebeest climbing up the stairs next door all the time. Yeah, and that was a factor with me too. I didn't have a problem climbing the stairs when I was really young. In fact, I would take the stairs every other one. Every two steps. It's funny, the carpet was more worn on every other step, on the even steps, because I take them two at a time. That's the only reason you like me, isn't it? The kitty treats. All right. Enough of that nonsense. Ooh, barbecue. That sounds good. Have some good barbecue, Jeff. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, the only narrow rooms there should be is hallways. Well, I mean, I got a fairly long hallway. Of course, goes around the corner there to back to the bedrooms. I got cat hair in my nose, dude. See you, Tracy. Thanks for stopping in. Shuffleboard? I don't know about shuffleboard. I've thought about a pool table. Problem is, what do I do when I'm not using it? That's a big chunk of real estate there. It is nice also when I'm like working on some project that I can just set up right here in the living room. See, if I had like a three-car garage, that would be the way to go with a pool table. You're right, that'd be perfect. Well, I think Jordan was talking about something about that. I don't know if he actually ever did it, but like getting a pool table that had I think it raised and lowered, and then there was like a just a top you could put over and turn it into a big dining room table. I don't know. That's still a big chunk of space there. But yeah, a garage would be the way to go. What I had to do is get like a big metal building in the backyard, and that'll be kind of the rec room, if you will, or not the rec room, the brec room, right? Okay, I'm glad somebody got that. I don't know. It's just going to be a matter of where I would go. Like I said, an out and an in trip on one day would be kind of ideal, I think. But like I said, it's a matter of figuring out where to go. Oh, got cat fur all over the place here. Was who ill? Adam? Oh, Gene. Yeah, I watched a few of his vlogs there. I don't know. I thought they were a little bit on the superficial side. They're kind of fun. But they don't really get that deep, I don't think. I think Jordan's vlogs are better. You actually learn something from Jordan's vlogs. Adam's vlogs just kind of like, hey, here's where this movie was shot or something like that. And, Jordan do that kind of thing too, but then he'd learn all sorts of fun little stories about what happened, about individuals that were there, and just go a little deeper, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna wait until we hear an official explanation for what happened. I mean, it could be a clot. I've heard, that's what I've heard. I've heard embolism. Um, my first thought was heart attack, but I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on anything until I hear. No, where's Enchanted Rock and what's Enchanted Rock? I mean, me and rocks, so pink granite, huh? That's cool. Let's do a little research on that here, see what we can find out. Enchanted Rock. There we go. That isn't too far. In fact, I'm looking at the map here. I'm wearing my light Longhorn Cavern T-shirt, and the map I'm seeing says that it's actually just a little past that. Looks like maybe 120 miles or something like that. That would be an interesting in and out vlog. No, no. Today would normally be the day um, to go to the rock store, but they're closed this week. They decided to take the week off, and then next week they come back and they're starting their 3-year anniversary celebration. So I don't know. I might go next week. I did next week isn't my normal week to go rock shopping, but I might end up going there next week and you know doing a video over there. I talked to Kara about that. She's open to the idea, and what better reason to do that than when they're celebrating their third anniversary, right? Hey, Roberta. Got a text from my friend Beth this past week. Apparently, she's getting married. I guess there's going to be a wedding in Solvang, California, in what May, I think she said. I was wondering what Agerman's one was. That's a perfect example, though, of taking a perfectly normal word like Germans and turning it into something that isn't a word. Jordan and I don't really talk that much. When we communicate, we just kind of text back and forth. Last I heard from him was a couple weeks ago when Adam died. I have been to Natural Bridge Caverns. I did a vlog there. It was really cool. That was part of my San Antonio trip this year, or I guess it was last year now, huh? Might be fun to like travel to like Temple or something like that and see if there's any fun rock and mineral shops there. I mean, except for Gallery 11, there isn't really a whole lot more in terms of rock and mineral shops here. That dessert was good. Yeah, I still got some more of that. Like I said, it reminded me of a lemon meringue pie, kind of the flavor of it. definitely something I'll do again because it wasn't really that hard to do either. It took time because you had to let it set up overnight, but see a squirrel out in the tree out there. That's got to be my job today. Here's all the leaves are off the tree now, so I gotta, I spent a day last week cleaning up the backyard, and so that's all ready to go. But there's so many leaves in the front yard, and like I said, now that the leaves are all off the tree, you might as well clean them up. Not seeing anybody around the squirrel house yet, but I don't know. We'll see. I kind of speculated last week. I think somebody mentioned that, and I kind of speculated that probably I got it up too late this year to get any residents. They probably already have their place staked out this year and aren't likely to move. So we'll see what happens next year, and who knows? Maybe something else will use it. Yeah, I put squirrel food out once a week, usually on Sunday, because I don't want to get them used to depending on me for food. But there's I buy like dried corn and nuts and seeds and stuff like that. Just kind of spread it around in the yard. That's how I keep the squirrels coming back. I try and make the yard, wildlife friendly. So I get the bird bath and I keep that water nice and clean, and so there's water for them. There's food for them. I got a cage, a feeder cage hanging from one of the trees for the birds. So yeah, I got that all covered. I don't know. Maybe that would be a long travel for a squirrel though to come from California. Haven't seen any recently, but you see them in the skies. Like I said, I like to how much wildlife there is in the yard. Oh, wait until you see what happens in New York. Even De Niro's talking about moving. We got another annoying ad up here. All right, let's see if I can kill it this time here. Dead. All right. That was a good idea. I should have done that a long time ago. A lot of people are doing that. New York, California, Washington, Oregon, Minnesota, Chicago, Illinois, they're all losing population in Texas and Florida and what Mississippi, Alabama, they're all gaining population. It's funny. I was hearing Robert De Niro whining about that a couple of weeks ago and saying, "Hey, I've contributed so much to society. I shouldn't have to pay taxes." I'm thinking to myself, "Yeah, sorry, Bobby. That's not how socialism does works. They don't care what you produce or what you contribute. All they care about is what they can take from you." And now he wants to move. And I'm thinking, we got to lock him in. I mean, he voted for that. I'm sure he voted for Mandami. I mean, if there was the slightest bit of self awareness in there, and they said, "Okay, yeah, maybe that wasn't the best vote in the world, and I'm going to be different now," but that Robert De Niro is not going to change. He hates Republicans, so he'll just move to some place that doesn't have the high taxes and high cost of living, and he'll just vote the same way again. Yeah, in a sane world, he never would have been considered. But unfortunately, this is the product of a whole generation that's been indoctrinated to hate what they don't understand. Right, Bite? Yeah, you're a good socialist, aren't you? Don't really contribute anything, just eat. Want everything given to you for free, and then whine when you don't get your pets. I think it's this, Gene. I think they've been told their whole life how great they are by their by the sycophants that hang out with them, and they're all their inside the industry friends that they just come to believe that they're the smartest person in any room, and the truth is they aren't. Oftentimes they're the dumbest person in any room. They don't have any real life experience because their wealth and their status allows them to isolate themselves from the other people, and that combined with the fact that they get such a high opinion of themselves that they think anybody cares about anything they burp up. I think that's really where we are with them. There's not a one of them that would survive in the real world if they couldn't play off their name. Yeah, well, Madman was never gonna see the right side on that anyway. Probably sees Maduro as a brother in arms. I was questioning the logic of having it all happen in New York, though. He was indicted in New York. He's being held in New York. I would have found it, Texas or some red state. No, they wouldn't survive in an office job because they have no skills. They're not very bright. All they're capable of doing is reciting words that somebody else said. They had to stick with that. That's the only way that they sound important. Well, my thought to them when all these Hollywood celebrities that want to leave the U.S. because of Trump, it's like, yeah, okay, just make sure you renounce your citizenship on the way out. That way, when you realize what a dumb decision that was, you're not going to say, "Oh, yeah, I want to come back." Sanctimonious blowhards. That's all they are. Right, Bite? Yeah, see, you agree. Yeah, that's another problem with them. Their egos make them think that they're the most important person in any room. Yeah, but I'm sure an international drug trafficking case could be tried anywhere. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that either. Like I said, most of these people would be destitute on the streets if it wasn't for their celebrity. They're the dumbest person in any room. Most of them don't. What was it that you remember a couple of years ago that what was the guy's name? Ricky Gervais, when he went to the Golden Globes and roasted all the actors and actresses in the audience. You ever get a chance, go check that out. It was hilarious. He was on the Golden Globes and just basically roasted all of them. He basically said, "Yeah, most of you out there, you have less education than Greta Thunberg." That's one of those things I can just watch over and over and over again. And it's funny to see the reaction in the audience too, because it's like, wait, is he goofing on us? It's like it was like a puppy looking at something trying to comprehend it. It's like he just made such a great point. I mean, you never do when you think you're the center of the universe, John. Didn't she do something to the canals and put green dye in the canals in Italy or something like that? And they kicked her out of the country, and I guess she's banned from entering the US too. Yeah, her 15 minutes are up. Like that David Hogg guy too. Holy cow, it's just time for him to go away. Yeah, me too. The technical side of Hawaii of Hollywood would be interesting. I could have gone that direction, but yeah, I mean, I might check with my internet service provider, see if there's something wrong. Sometimes that can mean your modem's going bad. Call and have them run a diagnostic on the modem, or just disconnect the modem and take it over there and see, can I get another one? See if that fixes it. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like latency. Could also just be a wiring problem. There could be something wrong in the wire going down to your house. Like I said, a having your internet company run a diagnostic on the modem would help. See if that's what's going on. I mean, internet is up and down here sometimes, but I'm broadcasting a live stream without any real problems right now. I see that every once in a while that my internet connection will become a little sketchy, and then like a little message will pop up on the screen. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about anybody else's, but my modem or my internet comes through my cable company, and there's just a coax wire that comes down into the house, and I plug into that. So yeah, there's no towers. The towers are more for like cell service. Oh yeah, too. I do too. Yeah, my modem is that thing right there. Well, the modem and the router. And so I'm completely wireless. Actually, everything in the house is wireless. Even the desktop there is wireless. And I could just run an Ethernet cable over from the router to that. But yeah, I have Spectrum here. I have pretty good internet in the house. Even the back room, it's decent. And like I said, everything's wireless. And actually, if I was smart, I'd probably put the modem more in the center of the house. But oh well. Not a convenient way to do that. Right now, the coax comes through the wall over here on this wall. So I put it over on that side. I had to figure out some way to route the coax over there, and I don't know. That doesn't sound easy. All right, one down. Move on to the next one here. Mike's staying with us quite a bit today. I actually ended up plugging um, my modem and my router into my UPS. So in the event the power goes out, as long as the internet signal is strong, I ought to be able to keep internet going too. Theoretically, hasn't happened yet, but so between the battery on the laptop, which is plugged in right now and fully charged, and the UPS, if the power went out now, I could probably continue the live stream. Like I said, in theory, never tried it yet. Go out in the garage, trip a couple breakers, see what happens. I've been thinking about a generator too. We have a lot of power outages here. That was the big thing that triggered me getting the UPS. Right? Because we don't need to have power, but we got to have internet, right? Because that's so important. No, I haven't really thought a whole lot. I might go out and start looking for gravestones. I got an idea kind of what I want to do, and so I got to see if I can do it now. The cemetery says that basically in terms of markers, it's got to be granite or bronze. Those are my two options. But other than that, they seem to be fairly liberal as to what you could do with it. Because I mean, there's 50-foot tall obelisks in the property. There's statues on top of pillars. So I don't know. I think mine seems kind of modest compared to that. Just got to see if they'll cut the granite custom for me or if I got to stick with their blanks. Yes, yes, I can do that, Gene. That's something that was different, from what I saw in California. Yeah, before my dad died, he did there wasn't a marker there. In fact, for about 6 months after he died, it was an unmarked grave until we actually got the marker in. But if I do the marker now, I can have it put in place. And they just apparently there's like three or four different headstone companies right in front of the cemetery, and apparently between the four of them or three of them or whatever it is, they've got like some common person who uh, works for all of them. That in the event that somebody dies, they'll just go out and right there at the site put the date on the death date. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be buried in Florida. That his parents live there, right? Or where? No, his parents live somewhere else, don't they? Like Tennessee or Alabama or something like that, right? See, that's sort of what triggered not Adam, but that's sort of what triggered me getting going on this because my mom had asked me at one point where I wanted to be buried, and I said, "Well, I'm a Texan now, so I want to be buried here." Okay, all right. Yeah, see, I sort of think that that sounds like maybe there's a problem with your modem. It might be that your ISP also made some sort of change that isn't 100% compatible with your modem. A lot of times ISPs will provide the modem. That's how mine works. So the modem and the router both came from Spectrum, and so that's really nice. If I have a problem with it, I just say, "Give me another one." In fact, I did that once. I think with my modem in California, and they were surprised. They hadn't seen my modem in so long. It was like the last person to have one. I don't know. I don't know if we'll do a Jordan's house trip. Might be a little bit more complicated now with Katie in the picture. I don't know though. No, no 50-foot obelisks. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I might just end up staying at a hotel too. No weeping angels either. It would be fun to see him again, although I did see him just a couple months ago. Yeah, it'd be fun to vlog with Jordan again. I mean, we've been to a couple places that we vlogged at the same time, but for the most part, me and I've been primarily just go along and experience all the fun. Thanks for stopping in, Gene. See you next time. Any plans for 2026? I don't know yet. I just kind of make it up as I go along. We're coming into another maintenance interval in March. And of course, my sister's talking about visiting sometime in April or May. I don't know, just for a couple of days. She's been talking about that a little bit the last couple of days. Wants to know whether she should come in from Dallas Fort Worth or go into Austin, which is closer. And it's like, well, I'm kind of smack in the middle. So, anybody else having buffering problems like Yvonne? I'm not showing any issues on my end. No, my sister's already got a list of things. She asked me for a list of things that we could do, and I sent her. Let's see. I think I texted it to her. Let me see if I can find it. I'll read it to you here. Okay, yeah, this is what I suggested, and I broke it into categories. Touristy places would be the Magnolia Silos, Dr. Pepper Museum, Cameron Park Zoo, and Bucky's. Nature would be under nature would be like a Lake Waco, hiking in Cameron Park, Carlene Bright Arboretum, shopping, Spice Village, and take her to Gallery 11, of course. History, the Waco Suspension Bridge, the Waco Mammoth National Monument, Texas Ranger Museum, and the Doris Miller Museum or Monument. And then I have one called the Dark Side of Waco, and that includes the Branch Davidian site, the 1953 tornado, the Waco Horror. And she looked through that and did a little research on all those. Thought she'd be interested in a lot of that. So I don't know. We'll see. There's always fun places to visit around here. Yeah, bluebonnets, they start to pick up in April. It's usually more May and, you know, maybe early June. Yeah, Bite took off. I'm not sure where he is at the moment. Probably went back to his room. He's not out here sleeping. There's like a carpet at the entry door there, and he's been sleeping there a lot. Yeah, it wasn't as bad when I was there. Love the Cape, but it was starting to get bad. They were starting to get to the point where they were allowing the whole trans movement to take in. If you decided you were a different gender, they'd let you, wear a dress. They'd change your name tag, the whole thing, and it got bad when it was there. But I mean, I loved working at Disney. It was a lot of fun. I got to do all sorts of really neat things that probably most people don't get to do. Right now, we're kind of in the 70s. Right now, it's not really hot, not really cold, but it kind of can't figure out what it wants to do right now. The computer says it's 58 right now, but we're supposed to get like into the low 70s today. I think because my sister's only going to be only planning on being here maybe a couple of days, probably road trips, across half the state are probably out of the question. It's going to have to be local stuff, but I guess my nephew is getting married at some point, and I think the ceremony is going to be down here. I'm actually surprised how well this laptop has held up because I got this laptop about 7 years ago. It was a Christmas present from my parents the year before I left California. And since my laptop before that was still working all right, I continued using that and then just kept this one in the box. So when I was ready, I'd be ready. And I made the decision that when I left California that I'd start using it. And, we're coming up on 7 years now and it still does really well. I don't have any problems with it. I don't think he's marrying a Texan. I think her parents live down here. Yeah, I think when they retire, my sister and brother-in-law were talking about Montana at one point. I don't know if that's still on the works, but he does really well as a investment broker, so he could probably retire pretty young. Yeah, usually when it comes to laptops for me though, I like to do my research and find something specific. Well, I could see that as something very attractive, John. That's I like the fact that I could get away from people. I like that. I like the fact that I can do that here. I can drive 20 miles in any direction, and I'm out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, me too, Yvonne. Yeah, yeah, you'd have to deal with that, but every place has its downside. We have rough summers here where you can go months on end without without a break from the heat. You just adapt. I don't know. I might be more willing to go visit Montana than to go to California. My brother-in-law likes cycling, and so there'd be a lot of great cycling places there. Yeah, I'd love to visit Montana. That'd be fun. And I think, with the exception of maybe Alaska, I think it's one of the least populated states. Alaska would be another fun place to visit. Besides, in terms of the rough winters, I've been in Minnesota in the winter. It's not going to be any more rough than that. Of course, I learned my lesson too. I won't go back to Minnesota in the winter. Yeah, yeah, I do love visiting old cemeteries and seeing the monuments. That was a big part of me choosing the place I did too, because there's so many different cemeteries in the area, and it's allowed me to kind of see, you know, what's there and how nice they are and how well they're kept up, and that's really nice about this place is I love the history. It's a beautiful cemetery. See, I probably wouldn't go to Alaska in the winter. Definitely not. First off, you get up above a certain level and it's dark all the time for half the year, and then it's sunny the rest of the year. Desolate just means that there's no people there. That's a good thing. Wow, with all your buffering, you're like way behind. It's been a while since we were talking about Adam's parents. Yeah, that's sort of where I am too, Yvonne. I can't get anyone in my family to visit me either. I mean, I've gone to California, more than a dozen times since I moved here, but nobody's come and visited me yet. So I don't know. We'll see. I would start with the basics first, Yvonne. Just try unplugging the modem, leaving it unplugged for a minute or two, plug it back in, see if that fixes it. Otherwise, like I said, I'd go. I mean, you were saying you have your own modem, but I bet you the internet company could ping it and and verify that it's working right. And I think maybe what my sister's thinking, Gene. That's why, because she was just saying a couple, just a couple days here. I think it's more my brother-in-law than anything else, because I think they're going to fly here, and my brother-in-law does not like to fly. I'm kind of the same way without the orphan part. Although technically, I guess my parents are both gone, so that does make me an orphan, doesn't it? Yeah. I got four things I want to do. Love the Cape in terms of getting ready for this, and the will is definitely one of them. The first one was a cemetery plot. The second is the headstone. The third is a will, and I got to figure out what I'm going to do about a casket. So yeah, you're going to get to see that all in a vlog. And yeah, I'm gonna Definitely going to consult a lawyer. In fact, I'll probably end up talking to my brother-in-law because I bet you he can recommend somebody that could do that. Yeah, in terms of immediate family, I just have the sister now. We do pretty good together. We're good with each other. There's a lot of sibling rivalry when we were kids, but it's all good now because I know my parents love me best. That's all that matters, right? And I got uncles and aunts and cousins and stuff like that. But like I said, I don't envision any of them visiting me. Probably some truth to it, Yvonne. Yeah, I know. I figured Jordan would be a lifelong bachelor like me. But yeah, Katie seems really great for him. Yeah, see if your ISP will provide one for you, Yvonne. Because like I said, most do. I'm too much of an introvert. That's why. Yeah, I got to deal with Flash too, Susan. Flash is more likely to be an issue because who knows, it may be a long time before I go and bites no kitten anymore. Flash, on the other hand, could very easily outlive me. But there's two options there, I think. I know Beth would love to have flashback. Yes, that's right. I just said flashback. And I bet you the Cameron Park Zoo would take her also. Yeah, I am too. He seems to have found the perfect person for him. No, I think she was talking about it, but I don't think she did it. I don't think she got a turtle. Oh, I do too, John, because Bite's not a kitten anymore. I hope I got many years ahead of me. No, I won't give up Flash. I drove all the way to California to get her. I know Beth was really disappointed about that. Well, it's funny. You look up gopher tortoises on Google. They only supposedly have a 35 to 40 year lifespan. I've had her that long, and she was full grown when I got her. So it's hard to tell how old she is. No, no, I'm not that full of myself to do a headstone that looks like me. What I'm thinking of is I'm really into rocks. So what I'm thinking about is having them cut a piece of granite to make it look like a crystal, and like maybe have it stick up at an angle, and then have them right on the side of it. Yeah, I heard somebody saying that he talked about how in 2026 he was going to do a bunch of like just small town vlogs and stuff like that. And I think Jordan did a live stream or a video shortly after that, suggesting that he was going to kind of do that as a tribute to him. Well, I'm thinking like a quartz crystal. In fact, I've got a big quartz crystal that I'm thinking I'm going to bring with me when I go out there and say, yeah, I'm looking something like this, but made it entirely out of, pure black granite. And I think if they could shape it into that, I think it would look really awesome. Like I said, sticking up at about a 10-degree angle. So it looks like it's just a crystal that emerged out of the ground. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to see what's there. Like I said, the key question is, is the headstone monument company going to be able to do that for me? And I mean, I would bet you I could find somebody that would. I'm thinking to be about 3 feet tall and probably about this big. I think it would look really neat. And like I said, I think I could get away with that at the cemetery because, like I said, they've got the requirement that it's got to be granite or bronze, and but other than that, they seem to be pretty open as to what you do with it. There's a lot of variety in the headstones in that place. Yeah, it sounds like you just need a new laptop. I've been a huge fan of HPs. Every laptop I've ever had, including this one, is an HP. Yeah, I don't want to do bronze. It's got to be something that's going to hold up because you're right. Bronze will, bronze, it'll have a nice patina on it eventually, but I want it to, I want it to look good 100 years from now. Yeah, I know that is something I miss about this laptop that I had on the last one. The last one had a CD player on it, CD, DVD, reader, writer. This one doesn't. And it's funny, I don't have any recordable CD drives right now. But the optical disc players, they're becoming obsolete. But yeah, you can get like a USB external. Although the last one I bought was a piece of junk. Yeah, well, that's one of the things you run into with laptops too. As the battery gets old, the life drops. I used to be able to go on this one a whole week without charging it. Now I got to charge it 2, 3 times a week. That's also why when I do the live streams, it's plugged in because I don't think it would last a whole live stream. Yeah, that's true. And for me, it's even worse, Gene, because I was an early adopter of CDs, early adopter of DVDs. Plus, you get the computers. I was into that big time. Yes, I had an 8-track tape. Yes, I had a VHS. I wasn't that much into music at the time, so the 8-track never really got a whole lot of use. I'll tell you what I'd do is I'd go buy the blank tapes and record stuff off the radio. We used to love to record. Used to love to record like Dr. Demento when he'd be on the air every week. Um, let's see. Well, I was a late adopter for cell phone technology. Um, just well, I've never really been somebody to get on a phone and talk to people. So, the idea of having a cell phone, having a leash that way, just didn't really appeal to me that much. That really changed when they started turning into little mini computers. Because now I got internet and all that stuff on there, and that's what the most important thing to me on the phone is. But I do have to have one also for work. So, and since I don't have a landline anymore, but I think this is probably, I don't know, the fifth or sixth cell phone I've had. Yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to get a headstone that looks like a heart. That's not me. Plus the fact the headstone right next to me is a heart, so it would look like we were married or something like that. Yeah, me too, John. Yeah, I think I'll go through the headstone company in terms of that. I don't know if Kara would be able to find like a big something like that, let alone have the ability to transport it here from wherever she gets it. So I think I'll deal with the experts here, let them deal with it. But like I said, I would like to find something that I could shape that way. I think there's too many things in the US I'd want to see first. Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to damage any of my pieces by embedding it into my tombstone. Somebody's just going to get an amazing collection for when I pass. Never heard of Palo Dura Canyon. Where's that? No, no real natural history museum. I think the closest thing we have is the Waco Mammoth Museum. That's sort of natural history, but not a dedicated natural history museum. That would be fun to go. Yeah, I would have vlogged that if there was something like that here. Yeah, I don't know what I'll do. The rock collection will definitely have to be addressed. I guess it would depend on finding somebody who would, who's special to me that would like that and be willing to move it. Because I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of stuff I have. I mean, yeah, I have thought about a museum, the Mayborn Museum. I think they already have somewhat of a rock collection there. So I think Baylor has a pretty good geology department. Thank you, Love the Cape. I appreciate that. Appreciate it when people watch. We do what we can, Yvonne. But we've hit the 2 hour mark, so I think it's probably about time we pull the plug on this one. Thanks, everyone. I had a great time today. We had a lot of fun talking, and we'll see what happens next week. So I think that's all I got. Thanks, everyone. See you next time. Good night.